passage 2. This passage is about sleep, theories of why we sleep, why we feel sleepy, and things like that. It's an interesting passage. Let's quickly summarize it before we look at the questions. In recent years, neurobiological research has revealed many of the underlying mechanisms involved in sleep. How do we sleep? What are the mechanisms? What are the neurological units that are involved in sleep? Hormones, cells, enzymes, whose level of activity and expression vary during sleep, between sleep and waking states, have all been identified. They found out what are the cells, what are the enzymes, what are the hormones which are involved in the entire sleeping process, right? During sleep, between sleeping, waking states, everything, what are they? We've learned a great deal about the physiology, anatomy, biochemistry of sleep. We've known a lot about physiology, anatomy, and biochemistry of sleep, every aspect almost. In this sense, when we say we understand why we sleep, what we really mean is that what we understand what makes us sleepy, how we sleep, and what dysfunctions are caused by lack of sleep. So when anyone says we understand why we sleep, what he's actually saying is we understand these aspects. What makes us sleepy, how we sleep, and what problems are caused by the lack of sleep. We understand all this. Why we sleep, these are the questions we can answer to the question why we sleep. What do we not answer? Probably he's going to say in the next paragraph. Understanding the origins of sleep is particularly vexing, annoying, irritating, since sleep hardly seems to confer any evolutionary advantage. Why do we sleep? How did sleep originate? How did people start sleeping? The ancient man. When you go back to that, that's a very annoying question. Why? Because it doesn't give you any evolutionary advantage. See, generally, we have adapted. Evolution has made us adapt to different things. We have an advantage, so that we have an advantage in our surroundings. But sleep doesn't seem to give us that evolutionary advantage. Quite the opposite. Why would an organism go into an unconscious, vulnerable state for several hours if it didn't need to? There is the problem of coping with night time. So maybe sleep evolved just to adapt to the challenges of darkness. So one theory is maybe we sleep, go totally oblivious to what's happening around us, maybe to cope with the darkness. On the other hand, many animals are nocturnal. There are many animals which are active in the night. Furthermore, mammals such as mice and shrews sleep much longer than the length of the night. Others, such as elephants and whales, much less. So if it is associated with night time, then how do you explain the fact that many mammals are nocturnal? That some sleep more, some sleep less. Finally, the length of the night varies significantly across seasons and latitudes. So why should human sleep time have settled on an approximately universal value of 8 hours when the length of the darkness varies according to your latitude, according to the season of the year? But our sleep, doctors all say the optimum length that you need to sleep is 8 hours. How come? So he's posed a lot of questions. One intuitive explanation, you don't need science or rationality, instinctive explanation for sleep that's easy to reject is it's needed to conserve energy, to rest and restore our bodies. So we give one explanation for sleep, right? That we need to conserve energy, we need to rest, we need to restore our bodies. Why is he saying it's easy to reject? Because he says we do lower our average metabolic rate while asleep, but only by about 15%. Our metabolic rate is reduced when we sleep, but only by 15%. A measly 100 food calories a night, the equivalent of a slice of bread and butter. That seems hardly enough to justify the complexity, vulnerabilities, and challenges of sleep. The metabolic rate doesn't go down when you sleep, hardly any. So that doesn't explain why we need to sleep. we're not really conserving energy or restoring our bodies. If you're talking in terms of the energy levels, our metabolic rate goes down by only 15%. So that theory is rejected. It's not to conserve on your metabolic energy, that's for sure. Nevertheless, it's generally believed that one of the two major functions of sleep, so what is the major function of sleep? It's generally believed that one of the two major functions of sleep is to repair the wear and tear of living, the damage that's a byproduct of the metabolic processes that keep us alive. We have a lot of metabolic processes that keep us alive. One of the functions of sleep is to repair the wear and tear that these metabolic processes inflict on our body. From humans to hermit crabs, life is sustained through networks such as the cardiovascular system that transport metabolic energy across the scale, servicing and feeding cells, mitochondria, genomes, and other intracellular units. So, to repair, just as the friction from cars and trucks on highways or the movement of water through pipe lead to continuous damage and decay, so it is with blood, resources, cells, and energy that flow through our body is a network, right? And you have blood and energy flowing through it. Just as you have to maintain roads because there's a constant flow of traffic. Similarly, our body, resources, cells, and energy that flow through our networks it will be subject to wear and tear. In addition to the familiar circulatory system, there are analogous networks of biochemical reactions in mitochondria, the fundamental source of our energy, that harm our bodies by producing free radicals. So we have a circulatory system. We also have another network of biochemical reactions. Okay. These biochemical reactions, they produce free radicals. Antioxidants such as dark chocolate and blueberries serve as a protective buffer for this kind of damage. So the damage that sleep helps to repair results from both blood flow and biochemical forces. Okay. Sleep helps to repair damage that is a result of continuous blood flow in our body and continual biochemical forces that operate in our body. It is sobering to realize that the very systems that sustain us also continually keep degrading our body. To be alive, you need the circulatory system, you need the biochemical forces, you need the analogous network of biochemical reactions that continuously flow in our body to keep us alive. But it's the same mechanisms that keep you alive that are also helping in degenerating your body. Sleep helps to repair some of this wear and tear. Clear? Another major, so one function has been explained beautifully, wear and tear, repair wear and tear of our body. Any detail on that, we know the answers. Another repair of sleep is to reorganize and reconfigure neural connections in our brain to respond to the myriad sensory inputs we continuously receive. Reorganizing and reconfiguring the neural connections for our brain. The brain continuously is bombarded by sensory inputs. So sleep helps to reorganize and reconfigure these neural connections to the brain. These come from both external environment as well as from stimuli from inside our bodies, such as our heartbeat and signals from our gut. This ongoing daily processing is a fundamental component of our learning and memory. So by doing that, it also helps in learning and memory. Reorganizing the neural connections to our brain, that process, the daily processing that it does, the daily configuring that it does helps in learning and memory. Clear? Let's look at the questions. Question 5. Just as the friction from cars and trucks on highways or the movement of water through pipes lead to continuous damage and decay, so it is with blood, resources, cells, and energy that flow through our networks. Which figure of speech does this statement contain? What is the statement doing? It is It is comparing the friction from cars and trucks on highways, the movement of water through pipes, right, which cause a damage or decay to the pipes, to the roads. It is comparing that to the movement of blood, resources and energy that flows in our body. So there is a comparison, right? Is the figure of speech a personification? Does it make an inanimate object? Does it give it attributes of a living thing? No, it is comparing our body with non-living external processes. So it's not a personification. Is it a metaphor? Is it a tautology? I'll talk about metaphor. Tautology is repetition. There's no repetition here. Simile and metaphor both involve comparison. In a metaphor, that comparison is made by not using just as, like, or anything. He is the lion of the class. That's a metaphor. He acts like a lion in the class. That's a simile. So here we are saying just as A damages B, C damages D, same way E damages F. So we are using a comparative word, just like, just as. So the figure of speech is a simile. Understood? A metaphor does not use as and like. A metaphor makes you that. Okay, you are looking like a star rather is a simile. You are a star is a metaphor. Got the difference? So here he is saying just like trucks damage roads, so does the blood flowing in our body damages our networks or veins or whatever, our body. So he is drawing a comparison using just like A happens, similarly B happens. Therefore the figure of speech is a simile. Clear? Alright, question 6. In this sense, when we say we understand why we sleep, what we really mean is that we understand what makes us sleepy. Read the statement, say it 2-3 times. It's a nice play of words. When we say we understand why we sleep, what we understand is actually, what we mean is, we understand what makes us sleepy. What can be concluded? We know what makes us sleepy. Well, that's what he's saying. Where's the conclusion there? What makes us sleepy is the same as why we sleep. Is it the same? Then when he's saying, why is he repeating it? When we say we understand why we sleep, what we actually mean is not that. What we actually mean is we know what makes us sleepy. So it cannot be the same. We understand fully why we sleep, then why would he give all this? What makes us sleepy may not be the same as why we sleep. Otherwise, why is he explaining? When you say why we sleep, what you actually mean is we know why we are sleepy. That means there's a difference between the two. He's indicating that there is a difference between the two. But since he hasn't explained that in the passage, we'll say what makes us sleepy may not be the same as why we sleep. Got it? Therefore, D is the correct answer. Question 7. According to the passage, which one of the following benefits are derived from sleep? What is the benefit of sleep? He has said it doesn't give us any evolutionary advantage. And then he rejects this, maybe no. And then he comes to 2 of the main functions of sleep. So remember that. Sleep helps in restoring energy to our physiological systems. Well, only 15%. So does it really do that? No. For so many hours you are totally oblivious and vulnerable? He says no. Sleep aids in reinvigorating learning and memory. Yes, the second function, configuring and whatever that the brain does to its neural connections, ultimately helps you in learning and memory. Helps us metabolize food more effectively. He says no, it doesn't really help in metabolism. Same reason, physiological system, metabolism. Purifying our gut systems, no. He has mentioned the gut system as part of things which are given rest, but doesn't necessarily mean purifying our gut systems. So the correct answer is B. Right towards the end of the passage, he mentions that. Which of the following statements can be inferred about sleeping. Question 8 asks you, what can you infer about sleeping? The abnormalities and unhealthy factors caused by sleep are not known. The very first para he says, we've done so much research on sleep, we know the dysfunctions caused by sleep. So A can be inferred, cannot be inferred, not known, we do know it. Sleep helps in conserving substantial amounts of energy. No, only 15%. Sleep repairs the damage caused by metabolic processes. Yes. Wear and tear. Yes, that's the answer. Metabolic processes are important but not essential. He calls them essential for preserving life. So they are important but not essential is wrong. Contradicts what the passage has said. Therefore, the correct answer is C. Wear and tear caused by metabolic processes, it repairs the damage. So it's the maintenance network basically of the body.